it all starts right here, right now, with a very tough Paladins team.
It's been a struggle this season for a Mercer Bears team that over the past few years was one of those that many thought could make a run to a SoCon regular season and tourney title. Lots of new faces or guys who were reserves now in starting roles. And Furman winning the opening tip. We're underway in the fourth quarterfinal game. Rafferty likes to back in. Try to do that on Kilby. Into the corner and a three launched and knocked down. Point guard Alex Hunter distributes it well and hits 37% beyond the arc.
He's had a great season. He has stepped up in fine fashion. Stephen Kroon, then John Davis III, and now Alex Hunter have run the point for the Paladins over the last decade.
Enough the attention for Cummings Cohen, not known for his shooting. JAYLEN STOWE, the senior guard, trying to extend his career for a Bears team that's 11-19. Furman has already established a new program mark for wins with 24, and they've had 3 straight 20-win seasons for the first time since 1980. A very important year for them that they're trying to match. Last time they were in the NCAA tourney, Clay Mounts, also a weapon from long range.
2 possessions, 2 threes, but also 2 assists by Matt Rafferty. He has found the open man. Just an unselfish team that understands who they are. They battle themselves as much as the opponent.
Ethan Stair on the top scorers along with Cummings, and he rattles home a 3. 11.7 a game. He's second to Cummings on their team, and he's their best percentage-wise three-point shooter at 42%.
Now, when Ethan Stair plays well, the Bears generally have a chance. He's the X factor.
Rebound battled for Rafferty, and it's taken by Stowe. 32nd steal this year and a step through.
Nice job by Stowe. He's the hardest worker on this team. Really will play multiple positions tonight. I mean, if you really were putting him in a slot, he'd be a power forward right now.
Mounts made one from the left corner. That time the rebound by Torrey Kilby, also a senior on this Bears team, looking to extend his career. Mercer was behind 6-0 on a couple of early threes, but they're now on a 5-0 run. Kilby, a native of Oklahoma, in traffic. Pump fake rejected from behind. The freshman Noah Gurley got a hand on it. Will stay in Mercer's end with 14 on the shot clock.
To your point, Pete, look, the Bears coming in having lost their last 2, including really a not-so-good game against UNCG last Saturday. And they could, 2 quick ones by Furman, they could have ducked their heads. Instead, they've kind of bowed up, and they're here to play.
Kilby leaves it short. As a team, Mercer shoots 35% beyond the arc. They're 9th in the SoCon in that regard. Tapped out of bounds. It'll stay in Furman's end. I think the fact that Furman is seated 3rd, really UNCG, ETSU, Furman, all based on how things played out the final week and a half of the regular season, so swapped any of those slots. Victor Bafuto, one of 2 players 6'10" or taller that Mercer can use into the lineup. But Furman up in the neighborhood where they'd lived all year long. The fact that Mercer and Bob Hoffman was able to get his team an opening round bye, I thought was a great coaching job, because this has certainly been a different kind of year in terms of players available. And Rafferty, he can dunk it. That time he simply pushed it over the iron, and back up by a 3 go the Paladins.
Well, make no mistake, they run everything through him. Here's a guy that's battled back injuries and surgeries really throughout his entire career, but has played his best basketball this season as a senior.
Good catch by Bafuto inside, goes up, it was knocked away by Gurley, scramble on the floor, and still a battle for it, saved by the Paladins. Great job by Hunter. Lions, Mounts. Clay Mounts, 5 points, and the lead grows back out to 5.
Nice catch by Mounts, good hands right there. He, among 2 or 3 others, one of the most improved players in the Southern Conference year over year. Mounts, a sophomore at 6'7", doubled his numbers, both points and rebounds.
Rafferty can come out high and defend. That's an effective weapon for Bob Ritchie.
Moves very well.
And Bafuto, the illegal screen. That'll be the first foul on the big man. He sat out a year ago. He's a native of Brazil. First foul called on either team so far.
Well, you talk about the Bears having 2 bigs in Bafuto and Amac, but they've also got a 7-footer sitting out, a transfer from West Virginia, Mechi Bender. Played 2 years at West Virginia. He's originally from Poland, and they are extremely high on him coming in next year.
And Fardois Amac, who didn't play in the first game against Furman, and in the second matchup, the loss down in Macon, he had 6 points. He is checked in. He's 6'11". He's from Vancouver, BC. You see him defending on the ball right now as Rafferty kicks it out. Andrew Brown into the game for Furman. Lions. Well, Furman at times tends to go as Lions does from beyond the arc.
And they can fall in love with the three just a little bit too.
Oh, nice move inside by Cummings. Amac, the follow, and he's going to go to the line. Fardois Amac, 6'11", 245, a freshman. They think he's got a big upside. Yeah, the name's a little bit different here.
You've got to win to advance, but they've got great chemistry and balance. No need to act differently come tournament time.
Amac just 41% this season from the line. And he comes through with a three-point play. 10-8, Furman's lead, which was 6 out of the gate. Some pressure is applied by Mercer.
A little 1-2-2. We saw that out of UNCG for most of the second half in the previous game.
Rafferty, a former high school quarterback, so he knows about finding the open man. He does a great job, leads them in assists, better than 4 a game. Shot clock under 10. Alex Hunter. Good job coming over by Stair to defend, out of bounds. Last touch by the Bears' JAYLEN STOWE, the senior, a little too scrappy. He didn't have to be.
Yeah, that's one of those head scratchers. You don't think it means much, but now it gives Furman another offensive possession. When you're the underdog, you don't have to be perfect, but you've got to have perfect effort.
We mentioned it on our earlier telecast. There have now been 51 games played with today's action between the top 4 in the conference, Wofford, UNCG, Furman, and ETSU, against the bottom 6. 51 games. The top 4 are 50-1 against the bottom 6. Furman, the lone loss in Greenville against Samford this year. It's been a dominant top portion of the league. Rafferty getting the roll.
And what a nice touch.
4 points for Rafferty, averages better than 17 a game. A first-team All-SoCon player. You could make an argument for him or Cameron Jackson of Wofford as Player of the Year. Deservedly, it went to Fletcher McGee. No one really surprised. And a foul is called, and Ross Cummings is the one who's rung up, and Bob Hoffman, the Mercer coach across the court, initially wanted foul called against Furman, and he expressed himself to our officiating crew that includes Zelton Steed, Billy Dunlap, and James Smith.
That was Lyons just taking the ball from Cummings there, and then become a little bit of a battle.
First foul on Cummings, 2 on Mercer.
Yeah, you talked about Player of the Year. I don't think there's any question Fletcher McGee was as good as anybody, but yes, Rafferty and Cam Jackson were right there neck and neck. 3 outstanding players, 3 outstanding seasons.
Victor Baffuto on the reach-in. Look at this matchup as Amac comes back in. I wonder if Bob Hoffman has considered playing his 2 posts, Amac and Baffuto, and just trying to clunk this game down to where, with Cummings out of the wing and Dimitri Ibrich, who guarded the ball as it goes off of Stair's hands, and Stair out there, and knowing that Furman's a really good defensive team, you're going to have to do some things to get them moving their pack line
outside the box.
And I wonder if that's been a consideration. And Bob Hoffman is known on both ends of the floor of doing different things from game to game and really using a lot of variations as the season goes along.
But he's played those 2 together, not a lot, but he has done it in Southern Conference play.
Rafferty on Amac, and a foul is called.
And that's where he's so good. He can catch it on the low block, but he also can catch it out and face you up, and most bigs can't move their feet well enough. He's quick enough.
Quickly, 4 fouls on Mercer, just 1 so far on the Furman Paladins. Matt Rafferty came down from Hinsdale, Illinois. No one in that neck of the woods out of the Missouri Valley or Horizon League really showed much of an interest, and Bob Ritchie and Nico Medved, who was then the head coach. Bob Ritchie is able to assist and has turned that into a really impressive start to his coaching career, but they got in on Rafferty, and he's a player with very little fanfare about him. A 77% free throw shooter, makes 1 out of 2 just goes about his business. A very solid guy and a great part of this program the past 4 years. Stair. That's a nice pull-up jumper. He's been injured so much in his career, you really haven't seen all that before this season, but Stair has developed his game.
He certainly has. I mean, he's a guy that can put points on the board. He is a terrific rebounder as well.
Little zone action. Brown firing over it.
And no surprise right there. Andrew Mount among the top three-point marksmen in the Southern Conference.
43% for Brown, the lead. The largest match of the game for Furman. A foul will be called against the Paladins.
You were talking about after his recruitment, it really is interesting. We've talked about some of the young freshmen out of the state of Georgia playing at VMI and UNCG, and Isaiah Miller and Bubba Parham. About Raftery and all of the Horizon League, Mid-American, and Missouri Valley teams that he passed over. This speaks to the ability to evaluate and then recruit by Furman.
Into Cummings, a catch and shoot. Nice tip by Dimitrievich, and they'll reset. Dimitrievich, a junior college transfer. Big issue for Mercer this year in the junior college ranks of Western Nebraska. He shot 45% beyond the arc. Here in the SoCon and on the D1 level, he's managed just 26% on threes. Inside, Amack couldn't find the handle, and he travels. Nice look and a good idea by the Bears, but they'll give it up down by 6.
Terrific set. Bob Hoffman called it. He wanted Dimitrievich to dribble all the way to one side and then come off that screen, knowing exactly what Gurley was going to do on the hard hedge. Amack just couldn't control it with his hands.
Staying zone. Gurley. Hunter. Can't get another three to go down, but a good tip on the rebound. It looked like Cummings was going to get it, but Furman recycles the possession.
Against that zone, that's the sweet spot, right in the middle, right where Gurley is. Elbow to elbow at the free throw line extended.
Mounts drives on Amack. Rafferty getting rest right now. That's always big when he's not on the floor for Furman. Brown can't get that one to go down. Dimitrievich. And a foul going to be called. A bailout. I think Dimitrievich will be the first one to tell you that. Hunter. No, I take that back. Mounts ended up getting the call. Hunter reacted as if the foul had been called on him.
Yeah, if they would have just backed away at that point, I think Dimitrievich may have fallen out of bounds.
Dimitrievich, who like ETSU's Mladen Armis, hails from Serbia. Cummings going to get a breather. So the top scorer on the team is out presumably until the under 12 timeout. Dimitrievich with the ball, but Mladen Armis,
yes,
native of that Eastern European country. Another feed underneath to Amack. He put it on the floor, able to dish, and then the ball is lost and given up by the Mercer Bears. Another turnover. Brown hits another three.
He can do that now. Yeah, the Bears have found something against this Paladin defense, but Amack just can't convert inside.
Daniel Love, the turnover on the other end. He's got the ball now. Another newcomer to this program for a Mercer team that brought in 7 new players this year after they lost a group of guys who played a lot of basketball. Amack off balance, he banks it in. Furman had built the lead to 9. It's cut back down to 7.
You're right. There was a core of players that graduated last year. Stefan Jelks, Desmond Ringer, Jordan Strawberry, Rion Holland. Some really, really good players. Won a lot of games in Macon.
Dimitri Rivers and a spin move there by Noah Gurley from Fayette County High in Georgia. And back out to a 9-point advantage, biggest that Furman has enjoyed in this opening half.
Gurley, I think he's as good a prospect. I've said all along, if his motor and his work ethic match his potential, he's got a chance to be a star in this league.
Bad pass that time by Love.
You touched on it a little bit earlier, Dean, just the upside. Coaches think that he has maybe the biggest upside of anybody. When he's ignited, flying around, physical, rebounding, it makes them a better team.
Under 12 timeout here in Asheville. The Furman
2 on the women.
Yep, these schools will meet for that. Furman's women in a title game for the first time in the SoCon since 2000, when their head coach Jackie Carson was known as Jackie Smith, was a player on that team. So she's trying to pull off the double-double of getting a SoCon title now as a head coach. That should be a good game, and when you're watching this game, you can tune in again and see that women's championship. Then we've got the men's semifinals later in the day. right here for you on Sunday. Lions missed earlier, misses again. Long rebounds have not been the friend of the Bears. That one, Stair, intelligently let go out of bounds.
Yeah, right now, really the only thing that you look up and say, wow, Furman with a 9-point lead, it's the turnovers for Mercer. They've had some open possessions. They've run some really good sets. They just haven't been able to connect.
6 turnovers so far. The Bears give it up just over 13 again. They keep trying to feed Amack, and that time he was able to go and put one in. He made one earlier on a 3-point play. That's what they're going to have to do offensively, because obviously Furman does a great job extending that pack line D out to defend the perimeter. Hunter slides by the defender, tried to feed it in the middle, knocked away. Dimitrijevic racing front court, Stair.
Not sure how there wasn't any contact on that one.
Neither is Bob Hoffman.
Like, my goodness, I hate to be critical of officials, but Stair just got attacked as he was going the rim.
Lions hits the runner. Back out to a 9-point advantage.
It's missed opportunities like that. At one end you miss 2 and then you give up 2, and 4-point turnaround in a game where you're really having to battle is tough.
Furman, one of those teams you play, they're so efficient, so well coached.
Yes.
And you just can, everything you need to do well has to be flawless. You can't make a bad pass like that, which could lead to another turnover. Instead, a foul will be called.
Yeah, mistakes are magnified when you play a team
Absolutely.
like Furman or Wofford. They're, in much of that respect, they're a lot alike. I said moments ago that, like Wofford, Furman, they are their own opponent in many instances, and I like that. Where, look, make no mistake, they prepared for Mercer the last couple of days, but it's about them and what they do and how they do it. Hard to believe it's been since 1980 that this Paladin program played in the NCAA tournament.
Dimitrijevic, and if he can make that a trend tonight, Mercer Bears should make this a ball game. The last foul, by the way, called against the Paladins, evening things up 4 apiece. Back within 6 in the steal. Dimitrijevic taking it away, came in with 25, goes around the defender, mounts, can't get it to fall. Rafferty, the hesitation, contact, and a blocking foul will be called. And we'll go against Corey Kilby, the senior out of Ada, Oklahoma.
Yeah, moving his feet. Yeah, he was outside that restricted arc, but he just moved into Rafferty, excuse me. Again, that's where he has real value facing up as a 6'8" power forward. He can put it on the floor and really challenge your defenders.
5th foul on Mercer, the first on Kilby. He's headed to the sidelines. Bafuto checked in. He and Stowe hanging up. Gurley, and he throws it away. Dimitrijevic. Cohen. Left wing Cummings. Crossing over. Reversing. Ooh, Ross Cummings has added that to his game since last season. Second time he's tried a reverse layup, and that time he executed.
He has. I mean, he knew last year after the Southern Conference season he had, where he was an all-conference performer, that he had to do something.
Gurley, a 4th turnover for the Paladins. When Rion Holland went down early in the SoCon schedule last year, he was another one of those players. He'd only been there a couple of years, but he was a great scorer in this league. Bob Hoffman inserted Ross Cummings, and Cummings delivered, had some big games for them. They were able to offset the loss of Holland as best they could. Holland didn't return till way late in the season, but it also served as, and thankfully for them, a way to get Cummings ready for this year, because they have desperately needed his scoring. He battles inside. Rebound, though, comes down to Brown.
No, you're right. That was a coming out for Ross Cummings, and he's just kind of continued. He's the leading scorer on this team. He'll need to play well. They're going to get back in this thing here in the first half. But their scrap on defense in that zone has been really, really effective.
Now called against Gurley. It'll be a 5th on the Paladins. The Mercer Bears, they're clawing. Back within.
Hoffman adding himself to the mix, even with his hands up. Boy, great guy, great coach.
Small college basketball legend in the Oklahoma City area.
You don't win over 600 games without knowing what you're doing.
Bob Ritchie talking to his players just now, saying that the main thing I need from you guys is your expression. Your energy isn't there. We're playing better than them. We're winning. Don't let them have more energy than you. We're giving it to them.
Clay Mounts, a 6th Furman foul.
First, team 6th.
Oh, Matt Rafferty. That was Mounts.
I thought it was on Mounts. That would have been his second. You're right. It certainly looked like it, particularly the way Mounts reacted. Again, good effort, just as Storm was talking about, by Amac inside to corral that offensive rebound.
Well, Cummings drawing just a little bit of attention tonight from the Furman defense.
Just a little bit. He's only been able to get off.
And a foul be called, and Amac picking up his second. That could be big on the 6'11 freshman with 7:09 to go before the half. Let's see if Bafuto comes back in.
Going to stay with him. And Cummings only been able to get off 3 shots, 1-3. He's really going to have to make sure he's moving baseline to baseline to free himself.
I thought that was the second, just his first. The drive won't go down, and JAYLEN STOWE with the bucket. They'd initially rung him up on the stat monitor and took it away, so just 1 on Amac.
They're going to run the same play they ran earlier, that ball screen with Amac, to see if Rafferty hedges at all.
Cohen, the guy you can back off, he's not known for his jumper.
That's exactly right, and that's why they didn't hedge as much on the screen and kind of blew the play up.
Cummings over Lyons with 3 on the shot clock. Ross Cummings out of Dixon, Tennessee. Creekwood High, an 8-0 run by the Mercer Bears. They are back within a point.
On the flip side, Cohen can really get after you defensively.
Mike Bothwell had the ball out high. Now Brown to Lyons left wing. Brown, Lyons burying the 3 and give the assist to Brown.
Lyons out of Fayetteville, Georgia. Same high school as Justin Toyo, former center at UTC.
Amac out high, defended by Rafferty. Give to Cummings, who almost lost it. And Andrew Brown coming up with the ball. Furman's led by as many as 9. Mercer had cut it to 1. Amac, and it'll go out of bounds.
Amac continues to battle. He's moving well. I mean, he has grown up this season. He's played a ton of minutes.
You see potential, and again, you noted they have a 7-footer who transferred in from West Virginia, waiting in the wings to play next year. They will, with Bafuto also back, and Bafuto stands 6'10". I mean,
that gives you 3 bigs.
Boy, they're going to, yeah. And that's been a big key for Wofford this year, as we talked about earlier. Nice job by Cohen. Stair, Stowe with Brown to beat.
Nice pass ahead by Stair. Nice run out by Stowe. You've got to love the energy this Mercer.
Bob Hoffman in your picture?
Yeah. He's the 6th man of the game for sure. He may not win the Geico play, but...
Oh, what a nice find by the quarterback on the floor for the Paladins. Their big man. Nothing better than a great passing big man, and Andrew Brown benefits from it. Back out to a 4-point lead. Brown off the bench with 8 in the game.
And Rafferty with a 3-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. You're exactly right. When you're denied on the wing, generally you go back door. That's exactly what happened right there with Brown.
Nice job by Stowe, and he'll go to the line. JAYLEN STOWE at 6'4", elevating like a guy a little bit taller.
Stair is limited at times, but works to overcome some of that. He's athletic enough to where he plays a little bit bigger. Watch right here. The catch, that was an athletic catch. And then a finish right there.
Clay Mounts picking up his second.
Stowe in some respects is like a Garrett Gilkison at VMI. I mean, he makes winning plays. He's always going to give great effort, and he'll do whatever's asked to help the team win.
Well, the best way to describe him is JAYLEN STOWE, a really hard worker. He's playing this tournament not too far from where he grew up, just outside of Charlotte in Harrisburg, North Carolina, and the 3-point play pulls his team back within 1. Furman came out of the gate with a 6-0 lead and had the offense flowing, and give Mercer credit. They've thrown some zone against the Paladins, and they've been able to slow down the ship. And travel will be the call. I think Rafferty lost his balance as much as anything else.
And that was because the double team came. Stowe was giving up some inches but holding his ground inside, but when the double team came, really kind of unusual, but it rattled Rafferty a little bit.
Turnovers now even at 7 apiece. Mercer has not led in this fourth quarterfinal game in Asheville. They have the opportunity right now.
And just moments ago, it was 6 turnovers Mercer, 0 Furman.
Ethan Stair with the runner. And that's going to force a timeout to be called. Bob Hoffman proud of his troops. Bob Ritchie likes what he's seen, but not in that sequence. Got a bye, and who knows, had Samford not had to play last night, if whoever they met today in a first game of this tournament with fresher legs, it might have been a different story, but after having a significant lead over UNCG in the first game of tonight, the Bulldogs saw the Spartans come back and knock them out after Samford had opened the tourney with a victory against the Citadel. Jordan Lyons looking to kick it out, and he does to Hunter. Brown. Gurley. Noah Gurley. Bright future for the 6'8 freshman. And a 32% shooter, and Furman giving us our second lead change of this opening half.
Nice timeout by Bob Ritchie, excuse me. Kind of calmed this team down, said we're okay. Let's make sure we do what we want to do against that Mercer zone.
Stowe was actually trying to pass, and the foul called inside, and Noah Gurley picking up the personal foul. That'll be his third here in half number 1, and he's been a weapon for them at times. That could be really big. On the Mercer end of things, the man going to the line, one of 3 players for the Bears with 7 points apiece. And they don't have a superstar on this team. They've got some talent, but the Bears don't have necessarily a Fletcher McGee who can take it over, Francis Alonso on down the line, even a Matt Rafferty, but they're good when they're kind of the best sum of their parts.
Yeah, and that's the way they win. I mean, as much as Ross Cummings can get hot, he can go get 30 on certain nights. I mean, you can't always depend on that. It's got to be a collective group, including guys off the bench.
Furman's won 7 straight in the series against JAYLEN STOWE and the Mercer Bears. We're tied for the first time in our ball game. Furman averaging 78.2 points a game. They're second in the SoCon in scoring margin behind Wofford, which is in the top 5 in the nation. And of course, Furman signature wins early in the year against 2 Final Four teams, including reigning national champ Villanova, both on the road. Shot clock at 5.
But the recovery by Mercer defensively has been terrific.
Lyons, though, able to splash one from downtown. Boy, that's got to be demoralizing.
Yeah, I say it sometimes. Sometimes just good offense can just be better than good defense. You got to get to the next play if you're Mercer.
Back to a 3-point lead for the Paladins. Dmitrievich to Amack. Foul number 2 on Fardov's Amack as Rafferty hits the deck.
That's the right call. And as much as you talk about Rafferty being in all these statistical categories offensively, boy, he's smart at the defensive end as well. Pick the spot.
He could help any team in the country be better on any level. Yes. He's such a versatile player, and the IQ and the ability just to make everyone around him a better player. 17 fouls on Mercer here in the opening half, 8 on the Furman Paladins. Trey Clark giving it to Lyons. Well, chances are Jordan Lyons isn't going to get his career high in threes, maybe for the rest of his time at Furman, but he is a good 3-point shooter. Remember, he had NCAA record-tying 15 makes in a ball game earlier this year.
Think about this. In that game, he had 54 points, and that's only the 8th best scoring total in school history. Yeah. Just amazing. I guess when you go to the same school as a Frank Selby.
Recently, the 65th anniversary of the Selby 100-point game on February 13th of 1954.
Greenville Auditorium?
First game on TV, on live TV, first Furman game ever, and maybe the first athletic event ever televised live in the upstate of South Carolina. And first game in college that Frank Selby's mom had ever been able to come down from Kentucky, Corbin, Kentucky, and watch her son play in person. And
picked a pretty good
points. So when she showed up the next time and he only scored 70, she's like, wow, I guess you really weren't that good today. Georgie Dimitrievich can't get the second free throw, out of bounds. Last touch by Kilby, so it's back to a 5-point deficit for Mercer. But you saw Furman with Lyons able to hit that three, and how they can just spur it out on you like they did coming out of this game, and they open up a 6-0 advantage. Nearly stolen by Dimitrievich, a really quick guard. Inside, drive to the bucket. Good job by Trey Clark, the sophomore out of Palmetto, Florida, at 6'5".
He met Stowe right there at the apex, and he had just a little bit more in the jump.
7-point lead once again. Kilby, they lost one defender and then paused as Rafferty came over. The answer by the senior Kilby. Lyons goes right around him, no roll. The follow attempt by Clark, and a foul is called.
Nice job again by Clark.
JAYLEN STOWE called for the personal.
Really a good move by Lyons. I don't think Kilby expected him to take it all the way to the rim as a three-point sniper, but Clark in limited minutes has been really good for the Paladins.
18 fouls now on Mercer. That's the first foul on JAYLEN STOWE. Trey Clark at the line, just 41% on free throws this season, and we see why. Just under a minute and a half to go in the opening half of play. Mercer rallied from 9 down to take a lead. That time forcing it was Clark, and I have a feeling I know what's going to be a main focus for him during the offseason. Since Mercer did come back from the 9-point deficit and take that lead, it's been an 11-4 run by Furman. Kilby battling inside with Brown. Good hustle by Stair. Cummings the open look again. And Ross Cummings not off to the kind of start they'd hoped for from beyond the arc. He's now 1 out of 4.
He doesn't usually miss 2 in a row like that when he's got his feet set.
Lyons thought that one might come right back down, and Kilby with the rebound. Come right back down through the hoop, that is. 5-point game. Dimitrievich will go back out high, and he'll reset. First season with the Mercer Bears for Georgie Dimitrievich. Driving inside on Rafferty. Contact, no whistle. I thought they might have gotten him for using an elbow, but Dimitrievich continues to have a good first half.
And now a one-possession game, and if you're Mercer and can dig in, you're going to feel really good about yourselves at halftime. Their effort has been fantastic since that initial 2 3-point thrust by the Paladins to start.
The clock's just about synced up. So Furman playing for a final shot. I don't know if Brown was expecting it. 4 seconds, 3 seconds. Rafferty, no. Rebound, and indeed, the Mercer Bears will head to the halftime locker room trailing, but in a game that, if you look at the
500 games more than I have. But no, look, at the end of the day, you got to be really happy if you're Mercer. Yeah, you never want to be down at halftime, but you're only down 1 basket, 1 possession. You get the ball to start this second half, and most of all, you like the fight you see in you guys. Even though he wants to see more, they could have come out and just kind of finished the season off and said, Coach, we won 11 games. It's just kind of been a long deal. Let's just head back and enjoy spring and get a little better in the offseason. It's been anything but.
Ethan Stair grazing the rim. JAYLEN STOWE and Corey Kilby, the seniors, trying to extend their careers. Stair and Cummings and others will return next season, and they've got some help on the way.
Make note that Gurley started the game here now. Started the half. He's got 3 fouls. If I'm Mercer, and I know Bob Hoffman well enough, he'll go right at him when an opportunity presents itself.
Corey Kilby was a 2,000-point scorer in high school. He's never really been an offensive factor for the Mercer Bears, but that's a big basket to start things out in the second half.
And much like the guy he's guarding, Matt Rafferty, he was an all-state quarterback in Ada, Oklahoma.
That's right. We've got 2 really good high school quarterbacks right now, one defending the other. And stolen by JAYLEN STOWE. Plays catch with Cohen. And the Bears move back in front of the goaltend by Gurley. And he was lucky he didn't get whistled for his fourth foul right there. It was almost in contact.
Watch it again. Nice anticipation by Stowe. Just stumbled a little bit there. He had a breakaway all his own. And then nice sharing of the basketball. Official thought that the ball hit the basket. Thus it is automatically goaltending.
First lead change of the second half, our third of the game. Lyons leaves it short, gets his own rebound. Rafferty fighting inside, so is Gurley.
Well, Lyons has been a little bit short tonight, even though he hit a couple of threes, actually hit 3 threes. He hasn't looked as clean as he normally does. I mean, he's got as good looking shot as anybody in the Southern Conference, but a little short. Not sure if it's his legs or just making sure he follows through.
This is his third straight game that's been really competitive as Ross Cummings gives us a third lead change in the second half. The 4-5 game ETSU and Chattanooga went down to the final minute. So did UNCG and Samford, and now we could be perhaps in store for another tight game. And heads up play by Rafferty. Hunter can't finish, and a foul inside, and it's going to go against Mercer. Corey Kilby gets his second. Really big opportunity for a stop missed there by the Bears.
Yeah, it was. But as this game goes on now and we creep deeper into the second half, something that will help the Mercer Bears is their crowd. I mean, they've got their band, their dance team, their cheerleaders, and they've got a good contingency of people that, I mean, it just shows the real care factor that this program has and these fans have. I mean, it starts at the top. President Underwood is here. The administration, they care deeply about athletics and understand the value it is with regards to the overall mission of the university.
Hunter got a great pass from Rafferty. Other end, Stowe, and he's fouled.
You've got to love Jason Stowe's focus tonight. Said it earlier, when you get to tournament time, these seniors, they recognize the sense of urgency maybe to another level, knowing that if you lose, it's your last time putting on a uniform.
Second foul on Jordan Lyons. JAYLEN STOWE, the senior out of Harrisburg, North Carolina. 6 points in each of the 2 meetings against Furman this year. Obviously bettered that tonight. And he now makes 1 out of 2. 10 points in the game, only double-figure score on the Mercer side, while Lyons leads all scorers with 11.
Look how far out Rafferty is catching that basketball, although he finds Gurley.
Big fella can knock him down at 6'8", 32% beyond the arc, and Furman moves back in front.
Hey, sometimes you got to get a little lucky. I mean, make no mistake, Bob Ritchie and staff evaluated Noah Gurley and came into Greater Atlanta just south of the city to get him out of Fayette County, but he grew an inch and put on 25 pounds in his redshirt year last year.
What a bucket by Dimitri Ivich. That's why he was such a good scorer in junior college, known more for shooting from the outside.
This is as good as Dimitri Ivich has played in some time.
Rafferty looking to spin. Out high it goes. Hunter who hit a 3 earlier. Look at Rafferty. That's how you end up averaging nearly 10 rebounds a game. Thinks about it. And fighting for the rebound is Stair.
And look at 3 and 4 guys in black jerseys just attacking the defensive glass.
Cummings splits defenders. Stair.
Boy, you just sense that could have been a big momentum boost for the Bears. Stair can't knock it down.
And Lyons on the drive. 13 points for Jordan Lyons. We've had 8 lead changes in the ball game. All but 2 of those have come since the half. Stair, strong move to the basket. Gurley just picked up his 4th personal foul. In the Southern Conference, we don't have any Tigers, but We've got the Bears of Mercer and Furman.
And put it in the team room at the hotel. It's here in the locker room now, and told his players, if you guys are willing to buy in and are ready to go, then I want you to take this Monopoly money, sign your name to it, and stick it on this board where it says we bought in. They have lost 8 games this season by 4 points or less, said they've been right there. So he's just trying something to capture their attention and get them over the hump. A close one here already.
11 games this year. They've fallen by 8 points or less, to add on to what Stormy said. And it's a Mercer team that this season has never had a winning streak longer than 2 games, so they never were able to build momentum, which can be so important just for confidence. And it's probably nothing they wanted to think about coming in. Just 2-11 on Saturdays, and that's pretty big, because that's a day of the week you play a lot of games on, both in conference and out of conference. They've moved back in front.
Finished just 3-7 in their last 10 in conference play, but boy, they are not showing it here tonight.
Brown, a senior, back to Mounts for another try, and a second attempt goes down good for Clay Mounts. He hits another tray.
Every player on the court right now for Furman is a 3-point threat, and a good 3-point threat. And when you have that, you can spread the court. Now the next thing is guys like Alex Hunter can drive the ball.
8th lead change of our second half. Mounts has hit a couple of threes, a lob, but too strong toward Bafuto, and fortunately for Stair, it ricocheted all the way out to him. Left wing partially blocked and deflected to Rafferty. Is just into the ball game. Luke Hamilton attempted his first shot. Rafferty underneath. Down on that run out for Furman, and then got it ahead to the senior big man.
That was a nice run out right there.
Third foul on the 6'10" center Victor Bafuto. For Mercer in the half, that's 2 on the Bears. Paladins have 2. Rafferty at the line this season, 77%. First in the SoCon in field goal percentage, 3rd in rebounds, 5th in points per game. Got to 1,000 points against this very Mercer team. So that's going to always have a special place in his heart. A 2-time SoCon Player of the Week and first team All-Conference.
Oh, by the way, he's the school's single season leader in steals, and he has just littered all over the Furman record books. There just aren't a lot of holes in his game.
Came into this game with 77 steals this season. And that's often playing in close to the basket defensively. Where it can be tougher to get a steal, or even be credited for one. Stowe, a step through. Nice move by JAYLEN Stowe. He moved the scoring average over 10 points a game this season. Attacking the basket, pulls Mercer back within 2.
Stowe was in a reserve role the last couple of years behind some of those talented Bears now. But he played in all 34 games a year ago. Now he's in the starting role and doing well.
Brown from the corner, out of bounds. Last touch by Mounts. It'll go the other way. Just under 14 minutes to play. The Mercer Bears hanging around. Early on, when the SoCon schedule resumed in late December and January, they played a game at Wofford, and they were within a point late. Fletcher McGee broke Steph Curry's career 3-point record on probably an ill-advised attempt, but that was big in making that game eventually a Wofford win. Bob Ritchie wants an intentional foul called. Dimitrievich, I think, fouled Hunter because he didn't want Furman to have a run out and be able to build their lead. I think Bob Hoffman wants to try to contain this pace and slow the pace, and Bob Ritchie says, you know, he just about tackled him.
Yeah, I mean, it was a smart play by Dimitrievich, but it was intentional in the sense of he was trying to break up what might have been a free layup.
First foul on Dimitrievich. Another 3 for Lions. 16 points in the game. He's 4 out of 9 beyond the arc.
He can get as hot as anybody in the league. He's hit a couple now here. Once he sees the ball go through the rim, you better find him, you better tag him.
Cummings. Rafferty brought the double team, and too strong on the lob, out of bounds. Dangerous pass right there, because Rafferty is deceptively quick, and he does such a great job getting back that he was able to shield Bafuto.
Yep, and it all started. He blew the play up by coming out and trapping.
Or rather, Amax actually checked in. He and Bafuto very similar look from a distance.
Exactly, yeah, but Rafferty came out and trapped Cummings, and then as he was retreating back, his arms clearly affected the pass that Cummings made, led to a turnover. 8 lead changes in the second half, but the Paladins trying to assert themselves again, and
Andrew Brown finishing on the reverse, a 10-2 Furman run. Paladins in this ball game have led by as many as 9. They've grown their advantage back out to 7, and Bob Hoffman will go ahead and use the timeout. Mercer Bears trying to snap a 7-game skid in their series. Keener and Stormy Bonatoni, Pete Hannity with you back at the U.S. Cellular Center. We're in Asheville, North Carolina. 4th and final game on quarterfinal Saturday. Even the Wofford VMI game, which Wofford jumped out big and eventually won decisively. VMI put a lot of fight up to get back within 8 after trailing by more than 20 in the opening half of that 1 versus 8. We've not had an upset so far in the SoCon tourney this year, which began last night with a couple of opening round games. Amack too strong for Cohen. Scramble for the ball, Hunter, and he's able to save it to Brown.
Great effort right there by Hunter.
Lions, another 3 for the junior. Grew up not too far from that Mercer campus in Macon. 5 out of 10 beyond the arc, a 19-point game. Jordan Lyons this season against the Bears had 24 the last time they played down in Georgia.
Game-winning plays by Alex Hunter getting on the floor.
And Jordan Lyons was the one that was leading this last break, telling everybody, keep pushing. I think he said that maybe about 10 times, said that's more like it. We got the energy, we're flying around, being aggressive, keep pushing.
Largest lead of the game for Furman, and now a shot clock violation by Mercer. Brings us to an official timeout, and I think Bob Hoffman and the Mercer Bears are happy to see a break in the action. Furman trying
A little flat on his shot, but boy, he's come out strong here in the second half. And he's a big reason why they're up double digits now.
This Furman team, several good players, clearly led by Rafferty and Lyons are the top 2 scorers. Lyons can handle the ball well. They pretty much do go as those two kind of play, but still they've been able to get other guys like Brown and Mounts and other contributors to add in. That's why they've been so good this year. That's how you go in and knock off Villanova in Philly. Brown, no. Rebound swatted back out to the Paladins. Lyons, he is feeling it tonight. 22 points, now 6 out of 11 beyond the arc. That career high of 54 from earlier this season just might be in jeopardy if this continues.
Again, he's one of those guys, when he sees it go through one time, boy, his confidence skyrockets.
And too many times we have seen a pass overthrown by the Mercer Bears in this stretch as Furman has built the lead out to 13, extending their biggest of the game.
Bob Hoffman saying just shot fake, just try to use the dribble a little bit to shorten the passes. This is Bear team a little rattled right now for what Furman's doing.
Rafferty tried to catch and shoot and said he'll head to the free throw line. Kilby picking up another foul.
So what it is forcing this game thus far is forcing Furman to have to stay with their top 6 or 7. Now Gurley's resting, but that's only because of 4 fouls. But you don't know, does that come into play if they advance into tomorrow?
Rafferty 4 out of 5 from the line tonight. Second foul on Kilby. Just the 4th on Mercer and only 2 on Furman here in the second half. And Rafferty leaving it short. Well, just under 11 to go. Mercer, just because they come into this game averaging about 72.5 points a game, if they're going to make a run, they probably have to begin it right now. But it's tough when Trey Clark can reach in and take away a possession like that as he did against Dimitrievich. Rafferty, strong spin move on Amack. Here's Clark. And Brown battling for the rebound, but it'll be called for the personal. Hard contact against his fellow senior, JAYLEN STOWE.
It's amazing when you play good D, offense just seems to happen. That's really what's happened for Furman. I mean, they picked up the defense, they forced the Bears into some ill-advised shots and some tough turnovers. And then at the other end, boy, it's gotten contagious with the 3-point shooting led by Jordan Lyons.
Andrew Brown picking up his first. 3 on the Paladins in the half.
But if you're Mercer, you got to get into some ball screens. You got to try to get the ball into the paint. They're starting their offense 25 feet from the basket.
Stair. Desperately need to get some points. He'll try close to the hoop, and now he'll head to the free throw line.
And that's one of those effort plays that you got to win if you're going to try to turn the momentum and get back into this thing. AMAC kept it alive, and then STOWE was able to go in and clean it up. Equally important of making points. It will allow Mercer to jump into some pressure.
Just 2 points for Mercer over the last 5 minutes plus. STOWE at the line this season, 78%. Cummings and Dimitrievich are over 80% on free throws. For a team that shoots 69% from the line. 2 that time for the junior STOWE, who already has a degree in hand, working on a graduate degree.
Redshirted during the 16-17 season.
Mike Bothwell, a freshman from Cleveland, gets his own rebound. He's quietly had a very nice role this year, about 8 to 10 minutes a game. How about that? Lions, he's got some points tonight. Give him an assist on the throwdown by Trey Clark. 65-51, 14-point advantage, biggest in the game for Furman. And Bothwell called for the personal.
Furman's done a really nice job of defending here in the second half without fouling. But you talk about Lions, then to Clark, and you were talking about Bothwell as well. I mean, the future continues to be bright. I mean, Bob Ritchie, really Nico Medved, who started this, and Bob Ritchie have built a program that will sustain time.
Dimitrievich. Much needed three-pointer for the junior and the Mercer Bears. Serbian native. Now 2 out of 2 beyond the arc. Bothwell, 6'3". Lions feeds the cutter. Oh, wow. Trey Clark just bested what he and Lions combined on moments ago.
Averages 4 points a game. They don't always come with 2 just terrific dunks.
AMAC, nice finish inside. Good find by Dimitrievich.
Somehow Mercer's got to start stringing some defensive stops together. It's just difficult. Yeah, when you're playing a team that has the ability to step up and make shots or has the athleticism like Furman, what do?
Furman calls the timeout after Jordan Lyons drains.
A travel coach, somebody's in the rear. Hey, you need to transfer. Coach is taking your game from you. Clark, a perfect example of just continuing to wait his time, and his time will come.
Part of a group of Paladins that are predominantly sophomores and freshmen. That's why Bob Ritchie was so gratified with the great wins early. A nice inbound play call by a really good X's and O's coach, Bob Hoffman.
So good at what they call special situations. They treat out of bounds. The football team treats special situations, but there's another kid on that Furman bench, JAYLEN Pugh, freshman. His time is coming. He's just not ready to overtake Lions at the 2-guard spot.
I think Gurley may have fouled out. So the first player in the game to exit by way of the foul.
And in comes Jalen Williams. Not a bad substitution, but interesting that Matt Rafferty jumped up off the bench and Bob Ritchie said, no. I think he wants to try to save, limit his starters and his go-to guys to as few minutes as possible.
Cummings. And he's going to go to the line. Mounts committing the personal foul. Clay Mounts running out to defend. Alex Hunter instead gets the foul charged against him. That looked like Mounts all the way.
Yeah, hammered Cummings on the 3. I mean, he was doing his Fletcher McGee imitation, just catching and squaring in the air.
And Ross Cummings, leader on this Mercer team at 81%, but he's got 2 more tries. Hunter picking up his first. I'm still curious as to how he was the one called. And how many times this season has Ross Cummings missed consecutive free throws, especially in the same trip to the line? Just every point they can get right now.
Yeah, had a chance to get this to single digits at the line.
1 out of 3 for Cummings. He's been relatively quiet in the second half, and he's gets to double figures with 10, 1 of 3, along with STOWE's 12 and Dimitrievic's 11 on the Mercer side.
Well, look at the attention lines. Is getting 30 feet from the basket.
Shot clock at 10. Kick back out to Hunter. Furman's feeling it. They're catching some of what Lyons has had in the game tonight. 15 out of 34 beyond the arc. A Paladins team that strokes him coming in at 36%.
And that'll win you some basketball games. Really, we talked about Mercer potentially being the team that needed to make a bunch of threes.
Cummings trying to answer. And the rebound, Paladins catching their biggest lead of the game and a chance to add on.
Can't hit the panic button if you're Mercer.
Nice try inside by Trey Clark. It goes out of bounds. And an official timeout on the court. Jordan Lyons and the Furman Paladins, when he's not scoring, he's helping others score.
Defensive end, which has in turn then led to some open opportunities offensively, and led by Jordan Lyons, 15 threes to just 4 by the Bears.
Mercer looked like they were getting ahead of steam going late in the season when they got home wins against Samford and Chattanooga, then led most of the way in Lexington, but fell to VMI, and then last Saturday really were never in the game against UNCG. Extra effort by Stair, and that one rattles out. And they came into this tourney 2 straight losses, but really played well for the first 2/3 of this game. But 14-point Furman lead. Hunter looked inside after initially going up to shoot. Paladins this year, a great sign of their efficiency. 27 field goals this game tonight, rather. 27 field goals in the ball game on 22 assists. They're 7 shy of the tourney record for assists, but when you've got that ratio, assists to field goals, that's something you're striving for.
Generally, you want to have about 55 to 60% of your field goals assisted on.
Kilby can't finish. There's Rafferty with a good box out of Stowe. Mounts. Lyons gets it back to Brown. They work it. They get rid of it quickly. The ball really moves for this Furman offense.
It does. Well, look, Rafferty's their leading scorer. Nice cut right there and pass. But I mean, really, their go-to guy is the open man.
Which involves moving well without the basketball.
Sure it does. They find the open man so well. They cut back door when they're overplayed. They know who they are. Guys know what shots they can or should take and make. And then a lot like the other top teams, you know, when they have to go to their bench. I mean, Andrew Brown, he's not anywhere similar to Noah Gurley in terms of athleticism or size, but yet you come off the bench and he is a terrific three-point shooter.
15-point game. Furman's biggest lead of the night. Rafferty reading what was about to happen in front of him. He could sense the body language. You could just tell that Rafferty read. He had a feeling because he was able to deflect it. It goes out of bounds, but he prevented the pass from getting to the man cutting. Had he been at a different angle, I think JAYLEN STOWE would have tried to throw that one down, but the important field goal as they're trying to put a run together are the Bears.
Not fair to say, there's not a better coach in America at running out of bounds plays for scoring opportunities than Bob Hoffman.
Hunter pulls up for 2. But Stowe, 6'4", playing like he's 6'10". Small lineup out there for Mercer, but you do have some good shooters on the floor. They need some threes. Dimitrievich inside. Kilby reversing, a 6'7" senior.
Bob Hoffman's got 2 timeouts in his pocket, 5.5 minutes. You got a media timeout, so certainly, again, no need to panic if you're Mercer. You don't need to rush things. You just got to get stops right now.
And Noah Gurley has fouled out for Furman, but got a bunch of teammates that know what they're doing. Rafferty finishing.
Hey, he faked the screen, turned it down, and just rolled right to the basket.
13-point lead once again for Furman. Kilby had it knocked away by Brown. Brown probably doesn't get enough credit for having the quick hands and getting in. He has 17 steals in the year, but again, an example of a guy who can disrupt defensively.
No question. And Pete, you probably know better, living in the Greenville-Spartanburg area. I mean, just this time a year ago, you didn't know if he was going to play his senior year, Andrew Brown.
2 different issues health-wise. He needed a surgery last spring for a issue in his stomach area, and then
hernia surgery, I believe, and they clipped part of his intestine, and then he gets healthy, finally gets out of ICU, and then has a foot injury in July.
Foul against Dimitrijevic. Second for him. 6 on Mercer, so an inbound with 4:43 to go.
Dimitrijevic has played well. He's played about as well tonight as he has in Southern Conference play. Had some good games early on, tailed a little bit, particularly from a shooting percentage, but he's been active defensively, 4 steals.
Earlier today, Steve Forbes in his 4th season guiding ETSU reached 100 wins, which he made a point in the postgame news conference to say, they're not my 100 wins. They're 100 wins for many, many people who've been a part of it. Mounts got it away to beat the shot clock. It comes down no good. Stair, contact with Lyons, and offensive foul's the call. And I mentioned that because Bob Ritchie is closing in on 50 wins as he wraps up his 2nd season at the helm of this Furman team.
47-17. That's just, what a terrific start to what should be a very long and successful career. Bob Ritchie's a great young coach, great young person, good family man.
Got another one on the way, already has 2.
He's got his son and daughter at the end of the bench at just about every game, including tonight. Probably well past their bedtime, but cheering on Dad.
Cummings after the stop on the other end, off balance. Bob Hoffman pleading his case. Ahead to Rafferty.
Timeout, Mercer.
Timeout call. 15 points, the lead for Furman. There.
Came out. Bob Ritchie and assistant coach Dwight Perry talking to the athletic trainer.
And with the semifinal game against UNCG at 6:30, I doubt we'll see Rafferty return. And it's one of the things about tournaments, when you get a bump or a bruise, those can be compounded because of the tight turnaround. Bafuto fouled. Wow. And they're going to count the basket.
Yeah. A generous and one. Wow. By James Smith, the official.
Call like that hasn't made in this arena since LeBron played an exhibition game his rookie year.
Yeah, I was going to say, since Joey Meyer was coaching the Asheville Altitude in the original D-League.
3-point play. And back to a 12-point game. Hunter the kick.
Nice second thought by Trey Clark right there.
Yeah,
he was open enough to take it, but
he realizes they're at the point now where they're just trying to get the sand through the hourglass, although this time with 13 on the shot clock, leaves it short. Bafuto the rebound. Well, just over 3 to go. Here come the Bears. Stair blowing past Lyons.
Probably smart on Lyons' part just to let it go rather than a 3-point play opportunity. But look, if you're Furman now, you can't play around with it. You can burn some clock.
And in a way, I think it's to their benefit maybe that Mercer's gotten within 10 only because Mercer's pressing. Well, tomorrow night, assuming Furman wins this game, they're going to see a whole lot of pressure right at midcourt from a guy named Isaiah Miller, Defensive Player of the Year, and others. And Sanford did a good job breaking it, but it disrupted Sanford. And
yes,
Mercer's going to need to be ready for that, as anyone is when they play a Wes Miller team.
It got to him. It got to Sanford in the second half. There weren't steals out of it. One caused Scott Paget to have to call a timeout. You're exactly right. It's a 1-2-2 3-quarter court. General will have Isaiah Miller up front. At times they'll put the long James Dickey up front when he and Galloway are in there at the same time. And then you've got real length up front.
Alex Hunter, 79% leads this Furman team at the line this year.
Think about this as a point guard. He's not had a single game this year where he's had more turnovers than assists.
That's a big time plus minus. That speaks, though, to the greater good that Furman is an efficient team. Cummings losing it. Hunter. Oh, we've seen showtime out of this guy. How about some more for the sophomore Trey Clark out of Palmetto, Florida? Dimitrijevic. And Brown pulls it down. 13-point game with 2.5 to go.
Brown got that rebound because Clark put a body on Ethan Stair. Those are the kind of winning plays that don't show up in a stat book, but help your team win.
Great job by Kilby as they were trying to get it backdoor again to Clark, and Brown on the tackle against the former high school quarterback who probably was hit like that when he was running option.
Yeah.
So Corey Kilby, perhaps playing the final 2 minutes and 15 seconds of his career with the Mercer Bears, a guy that comes from the home state of his head coach, Bob Hoffman. Very solid player, 77% from the line. Never has had great numbers, but has always been a role player and helped to fill some quality minutes during his career. And this year his role increased, as it did with several of his teammates. 2 out of 2, and they come with the clock stopped at 2:15. And again, it's an 11-point game. Best defender maybe on this team is on the ball right now, C.J. Williamson, but they break the pressure, and Furman has it front court.
Ballard's got a chance to run this down close to 1 minute and 45.
Looks like Mercer, they couldn't get the steal in the backcourt, is going to play for the stop.
Well, at this point, yeah, you've got to.
Lions simply fell down. Turnover with 1:45 to go. Lions slow to get up on the other end. Dimitrievich, no. Will chase down the rebound. Inside, Stowe rejected down low, and a great job by Clark.
In some respects, Clark has been a player of the game kind of candidate. Obviously, Jordan Lyons in his shooting, but Clark has shown some real talent here tonight.
You just saw there why Hunter has fewer turnovers than assists. How careful he is with the ball. A lot of guys would try to quickly get it away and keep it moving, but he knows when to do that and when not to. Brown can't get it. Williamson, a 6'3" freshman who's played in limited time. Stowe reversing. And he brings his team back within 9 at 81-72, and the timeout is called by Bob Hoffman. Mercer is clinging through battle for the title on the women's side as Susie Gardner and company of Mercer go for a second straight crown. That'll be at noon, and then 4 p.m. Wofford ETSU, followed by a 6:30 UNCG game against the winner of this one. The Furman Paladins less than a minute away from filling that final slot.
I'm sure the Bears are going to foul. They're just simply going to try to get a steal or deflection.
Now the reach in by Williamson. I think that they were hoping, Mercer, that Williamson, DJ Peavy, Amac has come along as a freshman. They were hoping they could have some freshmen of influence, and that really didn't play out this year.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. I mean, even Luke Hamilton, who hit the game winner against UNC Wilmington back in the non-conference season. Good freshman class, just haven't developed maybe as quick enough, or let's say in a season where the top 4 teams are really good, it just hasn't happened soon enough. But again, with recruiting and with Bender sitting out, the 7-footer, and a good off season by everybody, and certainly you've got a chance, but it's a critical off season for Mercer if they want to get back into the top half of the league.
As he's like to do, Andrew Brown has come off the bench and had a nice game with 12 points. Cummings, no, mounts the rebound. Lions, good job, and it'll go ahead to Hunter. Paladins led by Lyons, who was on fire beyond the arc. Brown fouled, so he'll be able to add his point total. 4 double-figure scores in the game for Furman. Lyons 25, a dozen for Rafferty and Brown, and 10 of the game for Gurley before he fouled out. For Mercer, also 4 in double figures, led by Stowe with 16. Stair 13, Dimitrievich 11. And Cummings a 10-point game, and that's a big story there because he came in as their leader, averaging nearly 18 a contest. Did Cummings.
He never was able to get just free and open looks. Credit the Paladin defense.
Final 20 seconds. Furman about to win an 8th straight game against Mercer. And Dimitrievich finish up with a 13-point game, and the Furman Paladins will dribble out, or so it seems, the final seconds in this game. Paladins will extend their lead in the series against Mercer to 16-9. We saw Stowe and Lyons with a hug.